Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've got some absolutely wild, jaw-dropping news coming out of Dallas today, and you're going to want to buckle up for this one. If you're a Cowboys fan, an NFL fan, or just someone who loves a good sports drama, this is the story you won't want to miss. It's a tale of legacy, loyalty, and one massive, franchise-altering decision that's sending shockwaves not just through Dallas, but across the entire NFL landscape. It all centers around none other than Micah Parsons, the face of the Cowboys defense and arguably one of the most dynamic players in the league today. Reports are exploding across the internet and sports media that Parsons might be on the verge of being traded to the Cleveland Browns, and the most mind-boggling part? Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Johnson, the legendary architect of the Cowboys' 1990s dynasty, is being cited as a major influence behind the scenes. Yeah, you heard that right. Jimmy Johnson, who once led this team to Super Bowl glory, is now reportedly pushing for a move that could send the Cowboys into a brand new era, for better or for worse. To call this development shocking would be an understatement. It feels like an earthquake rattling the very foundation of what the Cowboys are today. It's the kind of move that has fans either dreaming of a bold, brilliant future or fearing a catastrophic collapse. There's really no in between. In a league where elite defensive talent is rarer than ever and players like Parsons are seen as once-in-a-generation weapons, even whispering the idea of a trade would normally be dismissed as insanity. But here we are, with credible sources, insiders close to the team, and even players themselves hinting that this isn't just smoke, there might be a roaring fire behind these rumors. The timeline of how we got here is just as fascinating as the rumors themselves. It all started quietly, almost innocuously, with vague murmurs about a major shakeup inside the Cowboys front office. There were cryptic reports suggesting tension over the team's salary cap management, questions about long-term strategy, and hints that certain veteran voices who still have the ear of ownership were growing restless. Initially, fans brushed it off. After all, every offseason comes with some level of internal debate. But then, the whispers got louder. Names began floating around, and suddenly one name rose above the rest: Micah Parsons. That's when the sports world stopped and collectively said, "Wait, what?" At just 25 years old, Parsons has become the heartbeat of the Cowboys defense. A two-time Pro Bowler, a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and a hybrid terror who can rush the passer, stuff the run, and drop into coverage with equal menace. He's not just a great player, he's the player every offensive coordinator fears when they put together a game plan against Dallas. He is the anchor, the energy, and the enforcer all rolled into one. Trading him would be like pulling the engine out of a high-performance car and expecting it to keep running at top speed. And yet, here we are, grappling with the reality that this could actually happen. The deeper you dig, the clearer the picture becomes. According to multiple insider reports, Jimmy Johnson has recently spent significant time consulting with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys leadership team. Their relationship, once famously fractured after Johnson's departure in the mid-90s, has thawed over the years. In fact, it's said that Jerry still deeply respects Johnson's football mind, especially when it comes to building and rebuilding teams. During these reported meetings, Johnson is said to have delivered a stark message: the Cowboys, despite all their talent, are stuck. Good, but not great. Flashy, but not formidable when it matters most. Always knocking on the door of success, but never kicking it open. In Johnson's mind, something drastic needs to change, and that something starts with reallocating resources and reshaping the roster. His belief, according to sources, is that moving Parsons would not be a betrayal of greatness but a necessary sacrifice to build a more balanced, sustainable contender. Of course, it's important to note that Jimmy Johnson holds no official title within the Cowboys organization. He's not the GM. He's not a consultant on payroll. But in a franchise where history and relationships matter as much as statistics, Johnson's voice still carries the weight of 1,000 scouts. Especially now, with the NFL draft just days away, the timing of his influence couldn't be more critical. The reported trade partner, if you can believe it, is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, who have slowly clawed their way from laughingstock to legitimate contender over the past few years, see themselves as a few key pieces away from making a serious Super Bowl run. And pairing Micah Parsons with Myles Garrett? That's a nightmare scenario for every quarterback in the AFC. It's being reported that Cleveland is willing to throw the kitchen sink at Dallas to make this happen. Multiple first-round picks, potentially a young, high-upside starter, and maybe even additional future considerations. It's a haul, no doubt. But it has to be, because trading a player of Parsons' caliber isn't just about fair market value, it's about accounting for everything he brings to the field and to the locker room. It's the kind of move that shakes a franchise to its core, for better or worse. So why would Dallas even entertain this? Simple, long-term planning and cap management. The Cowboys are on the brink of some brutal salary decisions. Dak Prescott's future is a massive question mark, and even if they want to extend him, it's going to cost a fortune. CeeDee Lamb is about to command top 5 wide receiver money, Trayvon Diggs already secured a huge payday, and veterans like Zach Martin aren't exactly playing for discounts. Micah Parsons, once eligible, is almost guaranteed to reset the market for linebackers and edge rushers. We're talking north of $35 million per year potentially quarterback money for a non-quarterback. If the Cowboys think they can't pay everybody and stay competitive, moving Parsons now, before that monster extension hits, could give them the flexibility to draft multiple premium players on cheap rookie deals and keep the overall roster stronger. It's cold, calculated, logical, and utterly heartbreaking from a fan's perspective. And believe me, the emotional fallout is already underway. Cowboys Nation has exploded with reactions, and almost none of them are positive. Social media is flooded with stunned videos, furious comments, and heartfelt pleas to the front office to rethink this strategy. Former players are chiming in too. Des Bryant, never one to mince words, tweeted simply, "If he'll trade Mikey, y'all done lost your mind." It's a sentiment that resonates with thousands of fans who see Parsons as the emotional and spiritual leader of the team, not just another name on the roster. Meanwhile, Micah Parsons himself has been eerily quiet. No formal statements, no interviews, but a cryptic Instagram story featuring just the eyes emoji has sent fans into a frenzy. Is he hinting that something major is happening behind the scenes? Is he preparing for a departure? Or is he just stirring the pot? Nobody knows for sure, but the silence is deafening. The timing of all this is incredibly suspicious too. We're mere days away from the NFL draft, and the Cowboys currently sit with the 24th overall pick. If they pull off a trade like this and secure 2 additional first-rounders, they suddenly become one of the most powerful players in the draft room. They could target an elite pass rusher like Jared Verse, grab a lockdown cornerback like Terrion Arnold, and still have the ammo to potentially move up for a game-breaking wide receiver. They could completely remake the core of the team in one night. But again, at what cost? Because let's be honest, replacing Parsons isn't just about finding another talented player. It's about replacing the identity he brought to the defense. He was the alpha. The guy who set the tone with his energy, his intensity, his versatility. Without him, the Cowboys' entire defensive scheme would need to be reimagined. Dan Quinn, one of the brightest defensive minds in football, would have to go back to the drawing board. According to reports, the Cowboys aren't just stumbling into this decision blindly. They've been preparing. Scouts have been working overtime. The front office has been evaluating prospects and free agent targets who could help fill the void. They believe that with the right coaching and a slight shift in philosophy, they can survive losing Parsons and maybe even come out stronger in the long run. Others aren't so sure. Some insiders are calling this a desperate move, the product of mounting pressure inside the organization to shake things up after years of playoff disappointment. After all, how many times can you promise that this is our year only to fall short in January before someone demands drastic action? From that angle, this feels less like a bold masterstroke and more like a risky roll of the dice. And hanging over all of it is the looming shadow of Jimmy Johnson. If this trade happens, make no mistake, his fingerprints will be all over it. On one hand, that's comforting. Johnson built one of the greatest dynasties the NFL has ever seen. He understands how to win. If he's saying this needs to happen, maybe it's worth listening. On the other hand, Johnson hasn't been actively running an NFL team for decades. Is he still in touch with the modern game? Or is this an old legend trying to recapture past glories? It's a fair question, and one that Cowboys fans are asking more loudly by the hour. As we look ahead, the next 48 hours are going to be absolutely crucial. Will Dallas actually pull the trigger? Will Micah Parsons really be suiting up for the Browns next season? Will the Cowboys pivot at the last second and decide to keep their defensive superstar? Or is this the beginning of a bold new chapter for America's team, one written with risk, sacrifice, and maybe, just maybe, ultimate redemption? No matter what happens, this moment is a defining one. The Cowboys stand at a crossroads, with a decision looming that will shape their future for the next decade or more. It's rare to see a team willing to bet so much on an uncertain future, but maybe that's exactly the kind of courage that's been missing from Dallas in recent years. Or maybe it's a mistake so massive that it sets the franchise back for a generation. Either way, history is being made right before our eyes. Cowboys fans, NFL fans, sports fans everywhere, get ready. The next few days are going to be a roller coaster. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications because we are going to be covering every single update as this situation unfolds. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons? Is Jimmy Johnson making a genius move or a colossal mistake? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.